I've been a criminal barrister for the last decade, prosecuting and defending in criminal courts throughout England and Wales. I've been driven to write about my experiences because day in, day out, I see the criminal justice system failing those it's meant to protect. The innocent are wronged, and the guilty are allowed to walk free. I want to show you how the system is broken, who broke it, and why we should start caring. I am the Secret Barrister. Tonight, I'm going to tell you how years of austerity have impacted on our criminal courts. Today, if police have charged you for a serious crime, there's a good chance you may never face a judge and a jury. You might be the victim of a serious crime and never get your day in court. The English and Welsh justice system is failing all of us, but you won't know until it happens to you. Hawke's Bay, New Zealand. This is the story of Joshua Jones. He's been crazy about cricket since he was a boy.
It had always been a dream of mine to make it to England to play cricket.
In the summer of 2016, Josh was living his dream, playing for a Kent cricket club. After a bank holiday match, Josh and his teammates decided to hit the town in Canterbury.
Everyone was pretty merry and having a good time. It was good, it was pretty busy. Yeah, that's where my memories sort of end there.
Josh's night was to take a terrible turn. After leaving the nightclub, he was separated from his friends.
Once they'd finally caught up to me, I was on the ground. As far as I know, I got jumped. I have no idea why.
Josh had been viciously assaulted. He had suffered multiple facial fractures and would need extensive reconstructive surgery, including the insertion of titanium plates to hold his broken face together.
The surgeon described the fracture in my forehead as a smashed box of cornflakes. He's told me that there were bones 2 millimeters away from my brain. Very lucky not to end up with brain damage. He tells me that this just wasn't one punch, it was out and out violence.
Friday night violence, it's pretty much the criminal barrister's staple diet. On January the 19th, 2017, 2 men are charged and brought before the courts. They plead not guilty, but they're charged with intentionally inflicting GBH, grievous bodily harm. This is serious. They could get life. There's medical evidence and witnesses. One of them is a taxi driver who overheard them saying, "I hope we didn't kill him." If I were prosecuting this case, I'd feel there was enough evidence to secure a conviction.
I got a phone call from the CPS to advise me of the date and the time. Everything seemed to be on track. They'd caught the guys.
Josh was back in New Zealand trying to find out what he could online. He wasn't required to give evidence at the trial because he had no memory of what had happened.
On the day the court trial was supposed to be happening, I went online and found what courtroom it was, and all I found was that it had adjourned. A week later I was notified that this was because there was no room available and that a previous trial had taken too long, so that they ran out of time.
What a complete waste of everybody's time. One witness, Josh's teammate, had even flown in from Dubai at his own expense to attend court, all for nothing. Josh's case became what's known as a floating trial. What that means is more trials are listed than there are courtrooms, so there's always one ready to go. The reality, though, is now we have a mountainous backlog of cases. The government's trying to make out it's because of COVID-19, but I'm telling you, this has been a growing problem for years and it wastes everyone's time.
The system is desperate for resources. People talk about the system being at breaking point. We've long passed breaking point.
Clearly what's happened as a result of austerity, there are fewer judges, there are fewer courtrooms. Whilst violent crime has been going up over the last few years, the places in which these cases can be heard has been going down. And who suffers? The public suffer.
A new trial date was set for March 26, 2018. Can you believe it is now a year and 10 months since Josh was attacked and he is still waiting for justice? So we try again. All the witnesses have been recalled. Josh's teammate is flying back from Dubai, again at his own expense.
I didn't hear anything over these 5 days at all from anyone. Find out afterwards that it was adjourned because there was no judge available, which is quite hard to believe.
Josh's face has been smashed, he's scarred for life, and there are no judges available in court. It sounds ridiculous, but it's true. To cut costs, the Ministry of Justice has slashed court sitting days, the number of days each year that courtrooms are allowed to open. So every day we have paid judges sitting at home and usable courtrooms lying locked and empty, while the backlog of cases soars. This has been made even worse by COVID. There are now over 41,000 cases waiting to be heard in the Crown Court, and over 500,000 in the Magistrates' Courts, meaning people having to wait quite literally years for their trial.
We could have been that randomly attacked person. You know, all of us could be in that situation, and a system that lets Joshua down lets us all down.
The lack of resources across the system means that even the most basic procedural courtesies often don't happen. Josh struggled for weeks to find out from the CPS what was going to happen with his case. Finally, he got some news, but not from whom you'd expect.
I didn't hear anything from the CPS at all, for only to randomly 3 weeks later to hear from a newspaper journalist. The court case was dropped.
A reporter from the Kent Messenger told Josh that the crucial witness flying in from Dubai was unable to attend yet another trial. Without him, the case collapsed.
This was the third time he would have had to come back after twice already paying his own way, so I completely understand why he didn't. The two guys who beat me up walked free once the case was dropped.
Josh's story is horribly familiar. It's what we in the system see happening every single day. Since 2010, the justice budget has been cut by 25%. No part of the system, from the police to the CPS, to the courts, to legal aid, to prisons, to probation, have the resources they need. If this was the NHS, we would be taking to the streets to protest the political vandals who have devastated our system. But sadly, because it's criminal justice, it's all too easy for politicians to pretend this isn't happening. And you won't find out until, like Josh, it's too late.
After the injury, I lost a lot of confidence. I always feel I'm looking over the back of my shoulder. I'm left with no justice, no compensation.
So this is English and Welsh criminal justice in 2020. I believe we deserve better. It's time we demanded it.
First of 4 exclusive films by the Secret Barrister. Well, the Crown Prosecution Service have responded, saying the prosecution was ready, but issues beyond our control meant proceedings could not go ahead. When we were unable to secure the attendance of the key witness, we had no option other than to drop the case. We apologise that a letter explaining this did not reach the victim. In recent years, there's been an increased focus on improving all aspects of communications with victims. The Ministry of Justice also said that they're investing over £1 billion in the justice system, keeping it running by prioritising urgent cases and expanding remote hearings. They say that Crown Court waiting times were at their lowest since 2014, prior to the pandemic.